Hello everybody, my name is Todd. I'm going to be your logic tutor today. We're continuing on with natural deduction using the rules of inference. In this problem we have to prove A or Z. So I look through my premises to see if I can find the A or Z anywhere, and I can't. And I don't see its opposite in the antecedent of a conditional either, so there's no modus tollens to our answer. But then I do notice something. Look at lines 2 and 3. I see the first disjunct in a consequent, and I see the second disjunct in a consequent, which makes me suspicious. It makes me think that we're going to use a constructive dilemma, and in order to do a constructive dilemma, I would need P or Q, which I see is on line 1, so now I'm pretty certain it's constructive dilemma. The only problem is that these two conditionals, the P then A and the Q then Z, are part of larger statements. One's an or and one's an if then. So to get those conditionals out of lines 2 and 3, I'm going to need to do some work. To get P then A out of line 1, since line 1 is a disjunction, I need the opposite of the first disjunct. I need a P or Q, which is right above on line 1. It's not free and clear. It's part of a conjunction, but that's easy enough. P or Q from 1 by simplification. Remember, we can simplify conjunctions and claim the left conjunct. Now, with this P or Q in hand, we can do a disjunctive syllogism with line 2 to get P then A. That's 2, 4 ds. Okay. So let's go after this second conditional we needed. On line 3, we need a P or Q, and we happen to make one already. It's in line 4, so we can get Q then Z from 3 and 4 by, and this is modus ponens. So now I have all the pieces that I need. Look at lines 4, 5, and 6, set up perfectly for a constructive dilemma. I get A or Z from 4, 5, 6, CD. All right, let's move on to another. Okay, this one here, 59. This might be a little bit blurry, but that says B if and only if S. Okay, so I'm looking for B if and only if S, and the first thing I see is this right here on line 1, and I say to myself, well, maybe that's where my B if and only if S is going to come from, but it's actually not, because remember, the way to get an antecedent out of a conditional is modus tollens, and then we'd add a negation sign on to the B if and only if S. So that's not where we're going to get our answer. In fact, it's in line 4. If we do a modus tollens on line 4, the negation will drop off and give us what we want. So in order to do the modus tollens, we need a not M. And I look right here on line 3 and I see a not M, but it's part of a conditional, so I need to show X first before I can get my not M. Fortunately, I have an X in the line above. So if you think about 2 and 3, that gives you a not M, 2 and 3, by modus ponens. Okay? And then all I have to do is a modus tollens with line 4, and I get B if and only if S, 4 and 5 modus tollens. So line 1 we never even use. It was just there as a distraction, as it were. All right, easy enough. Let's move on to the next problem. Okay, this one is going to be a little bit more complicated. Notice that we have to prove this giant conditional up here, and we don't see that conditional anywhere, nor do we see its opposite in the antecedent. So even though it's a giant conditional, we're going to still use one of our common strategies for getting a conditional that we need. We're going to look for the antecedent, then blank, then the consequent. And then if we have that by hypothetical syllogism, we get exactly what we need, okay? And I notice that a N and O, then blank is right here in line 3, so I can get that if I have an F or H. We'll worry about that later. And then I also notice that there's a not B conditional. So if I can get what's on line 1, which is free and clear, and that consequent on 3, I'm good to go. So the first thing I need to do is get the F or H for line 3. Now, I don't see that, but I noticed that I could get an F when I look at lines 2 and 5. 2 says G or F, 5 says not G. Well, from that, F follows 2 and 5, and that's disjunctive syllogism. Now, with this F, I can add anything I want, so I'm going to say or H. 6 by addition. Now, I have the antecedent to 3, so I can get N and O, then not I, from 3 and 7, modus ponens. Okay, so I got that first part, and then that first conditional I needed, and that second conditional I needed is right on line 4. Look, this 8 says N and O, then not I. 4 says not I, then C, so I can put them together. I'm going to skip a line since I'm being very messy. N and O, then not C, and that's from 4 and 8 by hypothetical syllogism. But now wait a minute, I needed a then not B. But look at line 1. I have another conditional up there, not C, then not B. I'm going to kind of use 2 lines here. I can put those together, N and O, then not B, from 1 and 9, HS. So instead of just the standard one HS to get what I needed to do 2 HSs, but I got there nonetheless. Okay, we'll pause for a moment and come back.